Well, good morning. We're on our way again. Today we're heading down towards Sault Ste. Marie, and we've only got one major stop to make along the way to take a look at some pictographs. The Agawa, what do they call it? Agawa Rock pictographs, or Agawa Canyon pictographs or something. I'm not really sure, but anyway, we will check that out. Beautiful day today. It's already 23 out there, so it's going to be a scorcher.
I don't imagine it's still in operation, is it?
No, there are some ruins apparently. Okay, here we're just popping into Tim Hortons, the only one in the area. We had to travel about an hour to get here. This is in the town of Wawa. The town was named after an impression of the sound that the Canada goose makes. And this is a little statue on the outside of town.
Nice little visitor center. There might be some souvenirs in here. I'll go take a look. Interesting. Exhibit.
You got that last notice to me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this would be 1128, Young's General Store. Well, that Young's General Store was quite a place, a real old general store in the traditional sense. They even had an open pickle barrel with pickles floating in brine, and I haven't seen that since I was a very young child. Anyway, the reason we're driving up through Wawa right now is because I'm going to take a chance to see if I can find a place called Helen Mine. Now, Helen Mine was perhaps the most important iron ore mine in Canada, certainly in the early part of the 20th century. The fellow who owned the land found what he thought was gold, but it turned out to be iron ore, and the mine was a very powerful source of iron ore at a time when the First World War was just getting going in a few years. So he named the mine Helen Mine after his sister. And when my great-grandfather came to Canada in about 1903, I think it was, but I'll have to check to see if that's correct. He went to work here in Helen Mine. And in 1908, I believe it was, he actually stopped writing back home. And his family back home, his 4 daughters and his wife, thought that he had found another woman. But as it turns out, what actually happened is that he had died of typhoid. The people up there were not really taken care of. So anyway, this one route that shows this is the way to go, but it says road closed. But you know what? I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to go up this way. Yes, he had died, and I haven't been able to find the location of his burial site, although it seems that nobody knew that he was married, so no word was sent back to Finland about what had happened to him. It wasn't until his daughter came to Canada many years later and was eventually my grandmother. Huh. Well, they have a gate here, but they say, oh, private property. Speed limit 20. Okay, well, I'm not going to go any further this way. There is another route up there. I'm going to try to follow that. I don't wish to intrude on anybody. In the general store, I was asking about this road, and the lady behind the counter said, "Oh, the road is closed. There's a gate across it." And so she asked her assistant, "You know who owns that land?" And she goes, "Yeah." "Well, who is it?" "Some rich guy." Okay. Well, there is another route that's shown on the map. I don't know if it's passable or not. I haven't really got a lot of information. There's a very intriguing link on the internet, a detailed map on how to get there. When you go there, it says go to Wawa and ask for directions from a local. Again, not perhaps the most helpful directions, but we'll see what we can find. Google doesn't know what we want to do at this point, so I'm going to have to use the paper map. I could mention that the mine has been closed for decades, and there's not much there now. There are apparently some ruins. But I don't think we have such a major undertaking to try to find these ruins and everything like that. I'm just going to try to see if I can get up into the area. That's about all I'm going to do today. Okay, so that little bit there is actually marked as that doesn't go through either. I had all sorts of information about my great-grandfather's death, including his name, Wilhelm Virtanen, and place of death and date of death. Now, this is more than one can usually find in genealogy searches, but I wasn't able to find his burial place. As it turned out, he had changed his name to a more English-sounding William Wilmer, but even knowing this hasn't helped. William contracted typhoid fever while working at Helen Mine, where sanitation was not a priority, and he was evacuated to Sault Ste. Marie, 229 kilometers to the south. There, Dr. J.H. Gimby cared for him for the 3 weeks before he died on August 16, 1908. His place of burial is still unknown. Exactly 20 years later, his youngest daughter, my grandmother, came to Canada with her son to join her husband in the New World. This is the way it was often done with immigrants. The breadwinner would go first and create the home and get a job, and when he had enough money saved up, he'd send for the family to join him. All right, so this route here has also been blocked off. There's actually a security camera up there on that fence. But they piled up earth across the road and put a little fence here. So clearly they don't want you to go any further than that. So although we're in the area of Helen Mine, we'd have maybe a kilometer more or so to go before we got there. So I'm just going to call that the end of our expedition. Just before we leave the area, I found this paved road, old paved road that actually runs up sort of in the general direction of where we're going.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's got a fence across it too. Wow. Yeah. And there's like a keep out abandoned mine. Okay.
Ah, there you go. That's it then.
Yeah. That's as close as we're going to get. It's 12 o'clock. Yeah, the mine was brought back into operation after a period of inactivity, but the final days of it, I think, were in the 1980s or 1990s when it finally stopped production. Back on the road again, southbound along Highway 17 and on the way to Agawa Rock Pictographs.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I think it's really nice. I guess you can go this way too, maybe. Oh, yeah.
Stopping for a picture, I think.
Yeah.
It's kind of a use thing. They don't want you sitting here using the place.
Wow, that's quite a beautiful spot, eh?
Okay, go take your picture.
Okay.
Back when I was in my 20s and 30s, I took my cabin cruiser Bold up this coast, as far as opposite the town of Wawa, before turning around and coming back. Lake Superior was the farthest I'd ever gone with the boat, and it's definitely a lake to be taken seriously. Watch the weather forecasts and stuff. I had excellent weather and light winds and everything, so it was beautiful for me. And we didn't have any kind of an Edmund Fitzgerald moment or anything like that. Gargantua Road, yeah. Gargantua was one of the bays that I stayed in with the cabin cruiser Bold.
This is a turn out, okay?
115 Agawa. Yeah, the route down is a little bit tricky. And they warn you, once you get down to the water, people have been killed by being washed off the rocks by unexpected wave action. So we're gonna take it easy as we go down here and try to avoid killing ourselves.
Well, they have to make it sort of inaccessible to people to protect the site, I suppose.
No, it's just that's just the way it is.
They place little steps here for those folks. This is all.
It's very difficult to get far enough away to get any video of this because the rock here is kind of slanted and it's not terribly grippy either. So I've got my camera kind of held up in front of me, but I can't see what I'm videoing.
I'm going to try and take a picture too.
I can see what it's like here. I'm glad it's a calm day anyway. I'm surprised that they're left like this where people can touch them. In fact, you almost have to touch them in order not to lose your balance as you're going along. Might be able to move down a little farther toward the water at this point. Can't tell what I'm looking at.
Maybe it's my special mountain goat shoes.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything more further down there.
Catch me!
These pictographs are 150 to 400 years old and have been painted by various Ojibwa artists using red ochre. These four canoes, following the figures of a crane, an eagle, and a turtle, may tell the tale of Chief Mayingun, who led a war party across the water to a nearby place. This is Mishapeshu, the great lynx who lives beneath the waves. He's accompanied by two serpents. It is felt that there were about 135 pictographs here originally. Now, perhaps 35 can be seen. Well, it's quite an adventure going down there. It's in some ways not for the faint of heart, and not for the tottery of body either, like we are. But we managed to do it without falling over. The rocks there in front of the pictographs are, let's say, they've been worn down over the decades, and so I think that the warning that people have been washed off by waves is probably correct, but it's also the fact that you could easily slip and go off there if you're not being careful. Once you start slipping down that rock face, really there's nothing to hold on to. There used to be iron balustrades along there, or some sort of a railing. You can tell where the government has cut it off, probably because of liability issues or something. I don't really know why they would do that, but there's only one little bit of chain, and there's some rope lengths hanging over the side here and there, which basically are just for someone who has fallen in the water and is drowning to grab onto. That's about all there is, really. It would be quite difficult to get out, although not impossible. You'd have to work your way along the rock face over toward the north a little bit, and then you might be able to scramble up over the rocks. But of course, everything that you own would be soaking wet, along with your phone and cameras and everything like that. So it's not something that you would want to have happen by any means. I was surprised to see that the pictographs have not really deteriorated that I could tell since the last time I saw them, which must be 30, maybe even more than 30 years ago. And that's kind of surprising to me, because they're not protected in any way. There's no plastic or anything up in front of them, and actually, as you move along the rock face, you're almost forced to touch them in order to not fall in the water. So it's amazing that they're still there, and they seem to be in good condition after decades of being touched and rubbed against. It's amazing. But anyway, well worth seeing if you happen to be coming down the highway here or going up the highway. Yeah, you definitely want to stop in for that.